Hi everyone, today it is the 10th of February 2018. We are currently in Madame Tussauds in Blackpool. Just waiting for guests to arrive now, so I'm going to quickly do an intro. Just had a quick look around the building. It looks absolutely amazing. Can't wait for the guests to turn up, can't wait to find out what happens tonight. So, let you know what happens later. Bye!
Oh my god, it was an awesome night. It was crazy, it was knackering, but it was worth it. It was amazing. It was awesome. So, to review Madame Tussauds, I'm going to try and keep it quick, because I tend to ramble on. It was a great night. The building itself, the waxworks, are incredible. It was worth going there just to see all of that, and then there was the activity on top of it. This video's coming out late because by the time I got home I was knackered. So it's currently Valentine's Day, so happy Valentine's Day. It was incredible. There was 18 guests plus the team. We split up into two groups. I was in red team with Steve, Tony and Stephanie. And the first room we investigated with the group was the mirror maze. I'll try that again. The mirror maze is very creepy, especially in the dark. And the more times you go through it, the easier it seemed to get lost, which made no sense. But the activity started very, very quickly. We were all stood around asking if anything could come in contact with us, and we were hearing laughter, we were hearing people talking. It wasn't as... We could hear people walking around, banging on things. There was an ornamental kind of bird thing that started to spin around, and it got faster as people asked it to. That was crazy. Bear in mind, you're in the middle of a building, there's no wind, none of the fans are on. So that was kind of creepy. Maybe you could put it down to anything, and you might be able to put that down the noise to the other team that was investigating. But to try and stop that, at any given point, we were always like 2 floors away from each other. So we know it couldn't have been the other group. Unless they were being very, very loud. But we radioed through, it wasn't them. And they kept radioing to us to ask if we had been making a noise, if we were all there. And of course we hadn't, we were still where we were, we hadn't been moving around. In the mirrors, one of the guests said they saw a face kind of peering out from one of the thingies. So that was very creepy. I myself saw, because at the start of the maze, there's like flaps you have to come through, and these flaps kept moving, like someone was coming through them, or at least kind of peering through them. So that was creepy. Yeah, very creepy. Like I said though, there's no wind in that building. It's a massive building and there was no wind. So it was already starting. We did a couple of EVPs in there. Some of it was very good stuff. The next room we were downstairs, and that one was very, very active. We were doing table tipping, that the table was going crazy. We were doing EVPs. We could quite easily hear something telling us to get out. And when we asked why, it said, because. But this voice coming through was so angry. It was very, very creepy. But I know Tony, he did explain, because how the EVPs work, they work on a very limited frequency. So a lot of the voices that come through do sound kind of angry, but it's not. So I just have to take his word for that, because I was getting very creeped out. While we were trying to do a lot of other things, there was myself and another guest and one of the security guards, and we could, coming from the corridor behind us, there was laughing, there was people talking, there was things being thrown. Well, at least it sounded like something was being thrown, there was things being banged, and I had to keep going checking it out. Me and the guest checked it out. We couldn't find anyone, we couldn't hear anyone. And at one point while we were downstairs, we heard what sounded like from above us, it was like stomping. So we was trying to get through to the other group, but they weren't picking up the radio, so I had to go look for them. And where I eventually found them, they were nowhere near where we would have been underneath. And I'd asked them if they'd been stomping around. They said no, they hadn't been moved. They were all sat down kind of doing EVPs. So we know there was no one else in the building because it was a complete lockdown. There was only the 18 guests, the team, and the 2 security guards. But at the time, the 2 security guards were with us. So there was no one upstairs that could have been banging. Yeah, freaky. At one point, we were to separate kind of all the way down this kind of corridor and room. One of the guests said they could see a figure move where there shouldn't have been anyone, because no one was posted where they saw a figure moving. I ended up being by some stairway, and at the top of the stairway, I'm pretty sure I saw like a figure just kind of walk straight across, and I had to turn my torch on after that. It creeped me out a little bit. It really did freak me out. Partly because I thought someone was going to come running down the stairs at me. Thankfully no one did. And the next location, we set up several things. There was human pendulum, which I've never seen before, and that looked pretty interesting. But I think the one that really caught my eye was a Ouija board. The last couple of times I've seen a Ouija board, it's never done anything. It just stayed. Whereas on this occasion, it kept moving. It was answering questions. They asked who was there, and they got a name come through of a guy called David. And they asked him who he was, and he was French, and he worked on the building apparently. And this is where it got interesting. One of the guests actually then went on to check it up, and they reckon they did find a David that did work in the building before it was a Madame Tussauds, and he did immigrate from France. So that was really, really exciting, because it just kind of gives you that kind of confirmation that it's, you know, something is coming through and it's just not someone messing around. On the Ouija board itself, people were joining in, coming off all at different times, yet it was still happening. So you'd think if someone was messing around at any point, it would have stopped moving, because people were coming and going from that. So that was very good. That was very good. It's the first time I've seen a Ouija board actually be active. I've only done it 3 times up till now while being a part of the UKGH. And this camera is slowly moving. Oh, look, you can see my child gate. It's because I keep tapping the table. We've done the Ouija board 3 times now and got nothing. But I think that's the exciting bit, because you set up these EVPs, you've got all the equipment, you've got the monitors, you've got the blue lady, and majority of the time, nothing will come through. And then something does come through, and it just leads you... Because if it was like the machine was faulty or someone was messing around, you'd think, well, something would come through all the time, because someone would be like, oh yeah, I'm trying to. So you do the EVP, and that will only record something if there is noise to be heard. So you ask a question, and then it sounds like someone shouting down it, but you were there, you know no one was talking. But you listen to it back, and you can hear your question being... you can hear your question that you just asked, and then something sounds like it's talking. Sometimes you can hear words, like we were hearing "get out" and "because" and "angry." But a lot of them, it just sounded like shouting. It sounded like something was like full on in your face shouting. So very exciting stuff. So yeah, that building doesn't look that big when you're on the floor, but as soon as you're up there, that is very high. That is very high. And that's the mirror maze. So just a quick summary. It was a brilliant night. I'm glad I went. I'm very disappointed that we won't be going back again. And what is next? The next event is the Strelly Hall. So if you want to come, book onto that. There'll be a link down below.
and I hope you will join me next time. Peace.